what do you guys think of this one? Paul, I'm going to start with you because you haven't played a Chronicles of Crime game before.
No, it was fun.
What do you think?
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun to like solve the crime and find all the little things and you know, and working together to like, and then, you know, just because we're so entertaining with reading all of the things.
Yeah.
I think that everybody should just do voices and pass it around like that. Otherwise, it's not going to be.
It's a fun way to keep everybody involved in the narrative.
Absolutely, yeah. Have everybody like get characters or whatever and do the thing. But and then it kind of becomes a bit more of like a storyline that you're really interested in finding out. Kind of like a single role player game, but with like 4 people. But like, you know, and using our imagination.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of light role play included.
Yeah.
Okay, Dustin, Eric, what do you think about this one compared to original Chronicles of Crime?
I mean, I think this. I didn't expect it was going to do anything different from the last one, but the fact that it does. Like, I like this vision thing because you're like, what? You get these cards, you're like, what do any of these mean? And then we're like, yeah.
It starts to help you put pieces together.
It's because all of these characters, like, whenever you see it, you're like, oh, every one of these characters is involved, and these are all scenes that oh my gosh,
that unfold like together. Yeah, it was cool.
I like how that works really. They do a great job of constructing the mystery because I remember the Alice in Wonderland too. You're like, it comes through all of these twists. It's like the narrative is so much more complicated than you think it's gonna be, and you're like, wow, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I think the Alice in Wonderland one was a medium difficulty, and this was easy, I think.
Yeah, in the Alice in Wonderland, I remember we found a chimp, and we're like, oh, the chimp, like, murdered somebody?
The chimp murdered somebody?
Yeah, because there was also some Peter Pan stuff worked into it.
Yeah, it was like a drugged up chimp had murdered somebody because it hurt the Alice.
Yeah. I think the vision cards are a cool addition, too, because, like, this feels like a little bit of added justification for the board game part of it. Because so much of this game is so reliant on the app. It almost starts to feel like, do I even really need all these components? Could you work it all into a video game?
Right, yeah.
Right.
I think the vision cards kind of help. I don't know. For me, that kind of justifies because they are limited use, obviously.
Yeah.
I think these are probably not going to get worked into very many mysteries the way that everything else does get used over and over and over again for a different story.
They're nice little, like, signposts too, because you're like, I don't know what any of this, but then when you get to the point where you're like, where it's like, oh, when we got to the point where like the sergeant came at her, and I was like, oh, he's the murderer.
Yeah.
I saw that in my dream.
Right. Yeah. Or where Paul was like, oh, the wine bottle, he's at the tavern now.
Yeah.
And
we're like,
he got beaten up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It was fun.
From an aesthetic perspective, in terms like comparing this to the original Chronicles of Crime, I like the fact that they they unlocked locations from the main board. Because the original Chronicles of Crime, they have like docks for you to put these here, and I feel like this gives you a lot more freedom with where to put things. I mean, obviously you can do that in the original, but that allowed them to condense down the size of this board, which I think helps, because you can figure out a configuration that works for your table a little better. They did away with the informants being like, assign every play, like divvy up the informants between different players, and what, like, that always felt like a dumb little thing to do anyway, so I'm glad they did away with that. The board is not as sturdy as the original one, but
It doesn't really
who cares?
Who cares?
Who really cares?
Yeah, the board doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just a placemat for you to put all of your cards on, basically. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I love Chronicles of Crime. I love the whole. I want to play through the whole Chronicles of Time series.
Yeah, and if I remember right, it's like there's like DLC that you can buy. So like once you go through all of the ones that come with it, like you can then download new missions and stuff like that.
There's
a lot.
There's a whole section for extra scenarios, which is stuff that you can download for extra mysteries once you've done the ones that come included with the game. I don't know if there are any specific to Chronicles of Time or not. Surely there there would be, but I don't know.
I
And
assume so.
there's also the user made stuff that you can get too,
that's
which is
a
pretty
really good
cool.
thing,
yeah. Adds a lot of replay value. Build your own mysteries
Yeah,
with
that's-
these components, and then go download stuff that other people have done.
Interesting. Do you ever run into people that didn't think through their mystery?
Well, I haven't done it. I don't know,
Oh, okay.
but because I've barely played. I've played through all of the base game's core content. I haven't played through all of the DLC for it,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't played through practically any of the Chronicles of Time stuff. So there's still a lot for me to explore before I get into that.
Yeah.
But I love this series. I think it's great. I think it's a really cool example of what board gaming can be when you work in a little bit of technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dustin didn't go.
Yeah. Dustin, do you
Oh,
have any
yeah.
thoughts to
Oh,
add?
and we're out of time. That's
Oh, sorry, guys. No, but I really like it. I like the other one. I like how streamlined this one is. I like the new mechanics. Obviously, the Dixit style story was cool too. And I just love the framework they've got here. As we were saying, the custom content, like being able to build a game system that revolves around this and is so like mix and match that you can, but it still feels very thematic, like for each of the things. Like we ran across some of the same people as from the tutorials to
Yeah.
the other mission, but
But they're
you know,
playing different characters.
exactly,
And who cares? Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, I like it a lot.
Yeah. The one complaint I have about this system, we ran into it a little bit mostly with the tutorial, is that sometimes you run into what thing do I need to scan to ask you the question I'm trying to ask
And
you?
I think I remember, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like we had that problem in last
Yes,
time we played it.
we did.
Specifically in the tutorial. And I think that's a problem with the tutorial because it's written like any tutorial to show you every mechanic that the game offers.
Yeah.
So you
But I think this game, at least to my memory, compared to all the mysteries I've done in the base game, does a better job of like, oh, hey, you scanned that thing? We need you to scan this thing.
which
Which was a handy upgrade over...
yeah, last time it'd be like, silverware? Nothing like that. Shut up, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Tools? Oh, why didn't you say that?
Yeah, the fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it helps that they at least added that in. I feel like they could go a step further and just be like, oh, you scanned this? Cool. You're asking a question about that thing. Here's all the information about it. Now add it to your board. Don't even bother scanning it.
Well, I think that I understand that, but I also think that would be a problem because if you scanned one thing and it was like, oh, you actually meant this, and then add it to your board. What if you accidentally add the first thing to your board and then you go to ask the person? It's like,
right, yeah,
like what about the box? And
Yeah.
like, what box?
That's a fair point.
And like,
Well, and,
That's a fair point.
and
This solution is idiot proof.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's also difficult too because if they do kind of tell you keep leading you on the track. I mean, we
You
even
don't
had-
want them to hold your hand too much.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
even had a moment where we were looking around and then we were like, oh, like
Clothing.
like clothing. Oh yeah, of course.
The headscarf.
headscarf
We totally
that we
saw
saw
that.
on the thing. Like you
Yeah.
know, it was like which is a nice like
Well, the
accident that can happen. But if that happened too much, like
Right,
But
yeah.
I
also-
think that it would get.
the headscarf didn't really matter because it just led us to
Yeah,
a woman we
it
already
ended
had.
up not helping because
It
it
was
just
just-
took us to,
it was one of the-
somewhere we'd already been.
It was one of those because there are clues that like it will like more than one clue that'll lead you to the same person sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Which is a really cool game design element that they do, that the main developers do with these mysteries, is that they can give you multiple paths to get to the same answer.
I'd like to see the flow chart of like their storyboard of how they have all the
Right.
connections and
Yeah.
And sometimes
paths.
even how it's like fun for them to lead us down to a dead end that goes
Right,
absolutely
that-
nowhere.
yeah,
and
that
it's
leads
like,
you to
oh, okay,
nothing.
well,
Yeah.
you know. But
It
do
was
they
so
ever
good.
have any of the Time Chronicles games ever like killed you? Like, have you ever died in them? Have you ever?
Yeah, I don't
been
think
knocked-
you can die.
No, the Alice in Wonderland we were poisoned and we found the cure, but we
That's
needed
right.
yeah.
but we
We
were
were
slowly
on a clock.
dying.
That's
We
right.
were slowly
We
dying
were on a clock.
because we got poisoned.
We probably could have died in
Yeah.
that one.
Yep.
I wonder, like, would the game just end, or would they like reincarnate you
I
as
don't know.
your
Yeah.
Uncle the Monk to finish?
Yeah, who
to
knows?
finish out and like.
I know that there are cases where, like there was that event that happened in this one where there was a fight that broke out at the apartment and
Right.
we had to go check it out. There are definitely instances in other cases where it's like a bomb blew up back at this, in present day London scenario.
Oh, not Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like a bomb blew up over at that apartment, and your informant there is now dead. You can't ask them any more questions.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Like, there's stuff that can happen if you don't do certain things. And maybe it's stuff that is bound to happen no matter what, but it feels, when you're playing it, it feels like, oh, we messed up.
Like
We could have saved that person if we had just taken them with us or something.
I like that, though. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool element.
Yeah. So Chronicles of Crime, the Millennium series, specifically Chronicles of Crime 1400. You can pick this up from Lucky Duck Games. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring Tabletop After Dark this month. And we look forward to playing My Shelfie when it gets here. And that's going to do it. Bye-bye!
Hey, thanks for hanging out. If you want to spend more time with us, do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, head on over to twitch.tv/BNB Tabletop and give us a follow there. We play board games live every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a show we call The Board and Barrel. And we like to keep things interactive. You guys can influence what happens throughout the course of a game with our Buff and Nerf house rules. You can also make predictions on how things are going to pan out, play virtual bingo for a chance to win a free board game of your own, and heckle us and stuff from the chat. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you Sunday night.